All right, welcome to episode 63 of the Grindhouse Podcast. I'm your host, Edwin Cabrera, aka Steady Eddie. Across the screen from me is my homie, one of my day ones, John Lee, aka JDM John. What's up, brother?
What's going on, man? John Lee here, back for another episode. Excited to get started on this one.
Yeah, definitely. We have a lot to talk about. So
Yeah. And on the other screen, we have my man over here, Critter, aka, Critter.
what's up, guys? Just real quick, before we get the episode, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It helps us out a lot. Comment, tell your friends about us. Also, we have some merch for sale at grindhouse.store. All right, let's get into today's episode.
All right. What do we got?
All right, so let's just jump right into it. So let's talk about Versus being acquired by Triller. A couple takeaways here. Versus will be streamed on Instagram and now Triller. Every artist who did a Versus is now a shareholder in Triller Versus. So let's discuss.
Yo, that's fucking beautiful.
I think it's dope. I think it's
beautiful.
dope. So, I think I think Triller, like, they're doing a lot. Obviously they're starting to get into the pay-per-view type stuff. So I think this was a good move for them. So what are your thoughts, Edwin?
Triller is doing the damn thing. I'm wondering where the hell they're going. That's what I'm wondering. Like, I think since the Logan Paul, was it Floyd Mayweather? Is that what the fight was? I don't remember the exact fight. And then that Nate Robinson and Jake
Nate Robinson and Jake.
That, like, ever since then I was like, oh, they might have something here, because this actually kind of went viral. People actually talked about it, and it was hype.
People paid money for it too.
And people paid money for it. Pretty successful. And then they had Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr., right? And that was pretty hyped up as well. People, people talked about that. And now they got the Versus. So I think they're kind of steering in the right directions. I wonder, is it leading to like some sort of is a channel going to be like a Triller channel? Is it just going to?
That's what I feel like.
Acquisitions,
Yeah, no, I feel like they're going to become a network. This is their way of like getting content. Going with like things that people want to see. The Versus super popular. Obviously the celebrity boxing is popular. So I mean, yeah, I just think they're going with like what's the most popular thing, and then going with that and building off of those things.
I think, just to answer my own question, maybe they're doing like they're gonna be doing, because I don't have Triller. I think I had it at one point, then I don't. It's like TikTok, right? Or when I was using it, was kind of like TikTok.
Yeah.
But like, maybe they're looking to be the Netflix, like, paid service for our online curated online content, like, those like Jake Paul and random washed up boxer fights and stuff like that. Like that type of content, or the Versus, like that type of content, I think they're gonna try to put behind a paywall and make it like Netflixified, where it's like $9.99 a month for all this like premium online content.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, John?
Definitely.
No, I think Triller is kind of cultivating that whole section of all these different things that like, I feel like like hip hop is like, it's very I don't know, I guess like it's competitive in nature, right? So like even in music, like it's kind of cool to pair off like similar sounds of music and stuff to see who had the most hits and shit. So I guess like buying Versus makes sense. And all these other boxing matches, dude, like who really wanted to see some of these matches? I mean, like obviously a lot of people wanted to see it, but it's more of like, that shit sounds like some, you're kicking it with your homies and talking about like theoretical fights that aren't supposed to happen, and then they actually happen.
Yeah. I think one thing too is that, I think what they're doing, obviously the boxing thing was a big internet famous people. Same, the Versus was big on Instagram. So I feel like what they're trying to do is create like the new like structure of like what a network is now, and it lives on the internet. So yeah, I just think it's sort of like their way of like being a internet network. So yeah, I'm definitely curious of what they're gonna do next.
Yeah. I don't care what they do. I want that shit to just finally be high quality, not like recorded off of Instagram
Yeah, man,
and like
for real. Hell yeah.
yeah.
They gotta fix
That my
that.
yeah, but my favorite
Yeah.
verses was that what was that Fab and Jadakiss. Man, if that was like HD quality, woo!
Yeah,
I still think the Gucci and Jeezy was A+ in terms
that
of
was it was good.
like the dramatics. I was
No,
like,
yeah.
Even the awkwardness, I was here for it. Like it was
Man,
yeah, it was good.
I thought that was the end of verses. Honestly, I thought that shit was gonna end in like fucking shootout.
a live at a strip club. That would have been crazy.
Yeah.
Like honestly, a part of me watched for just in case that did happen. That was a part of
Yeah.
Ed was rooting that shit on. He's like, "Yo, play
not
that
rooting
fucking
it on. I was
song,
just like,
man."
when you get yo, because the history behind like what happened there, that's not just like, oh, he like, fucked my bitch or whatever. Like that's not that's like people died, people died, people got set up, and like that's not something that you could, I think, easily get past in general. When somebody dies over something like that, was, I don't want to get into the specifics of the situation, but it seemed like heavy shit happened there. For me to understand that if these two dudes never wanted to speak to each other, if it's on site, it's on site. Like I understand it, and they were able to somewhat squash the beef and walk out together without anybody getting injured or hurt or a fight. That's kind of dope. I think that was better than actually seeing a shootout. The fact have like shit, and still be uh contained enough to not do anything irrational, you know. And I don't know, Gucci, the growth of Gucci, I think, because Jeezy, I always kind of think like, feel like he is somewhat level-headed for the most part, especially as like a street guy. Gucci was always kind of like that guy that you didn't gonna do, So like I think that it shows more growth on his part. I think for that to stay as amicable as it did,
I mean, I'm still surprised that it happened, like that, like versus actually took place. But yeah.
Good shit though. Congratulations to artists that got paid.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. An amazing deal, Tim and Swiss. Because if
Yep.
you get including the artists in it, that's dope. I love that.
Dude, the fact that they were pushing that everybody who was involved, like that helped build that structure, is now a shareholder. That's like some major milestone. Like I think that we need to hear more about that type of shit.
Exactly.
The artist and the community does so much for everything that they should be owning more stuff.
I honestly do feel like it's spoken into existence because people are talking about it more. People are talking about equity more. People are talking about your fair share and being, and not just like a crabs in the barrel mentality, but we got to do each other. And I think that kind of philosophy, the more people talk about it, the more you speak it into existence. And I feel like, that's where you get all these like, Jay-Z doing these big deals and like, but I think later with the title deal, like still like making sure that artists are getting paid or artists are getting some sort of equity and some sort of thing. So I love it. I love to see it.
All right. Well, you brought up financial stuff, and this is a good segue into our next topic. So Square bought majority ownership and title. So they spent a whole $297 million in the deal. In turns, Jay-Z will be given a seat on the board of directors at Square. Obviously, for people that don't know what Square is a credit card processing company. They process payments, and they also own Cash App. So yeah, what do you guys think?
They're also the structure of my website, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, dude, that right there. So what do you think Jay is gonna do as a director? Let's try to figure, like, if you're looking at a chessboard, right? What y'all think this means by having Jay-Z as a board of directors on Square? What's that gonna do for us?
So I from what I think is essentially like the financial part of like the music industry is so archaic. It's like paper statements. It's like it's insane. And so I think basically what they'll do is hopefully, they'll make like maybe some software or some sort of infrastructure for artists to, have some transparency and like what their expenses are and all this shit. Um, so I would love to see that, using something like Square for artists. Um, yeah.
Um, I hate to get like put my like crypto tinfoil hat on here, but I'm gonna do it.
Do it up.
So I think so. I feel like I've heard a few things here and there about Jay Z and the kind of like the next frontier, the next big thing or whatever. Like I think I heard Joe Budden talking about this on his podcast, like when he was asking Jay Z for some advice, and kind of Jay Z alluded to this, didn't say it outright, but kind of alluded to this. And if you follow Square, Square is owned by Jack Dorsey, right?
Yeah,
Jack
who owns
Dorsey, is also
Twitter, I
the
believe,
founder of
or
Twitter.
founded Twitter. Yeah.
What is in Jack Dorsey's bio? One word: Bitcoin. That's that's
Mm,
that's the only word in his bio. Um,
interesting. Okay.
and Jay Z's usually Jay Z's a lot more mum about his business dealings until the thing is official and you can come you know make a press release about it. He likes to control his own narrative, so he's not. I don't think Jay Z's usually one to come out ahead and say I'm this is me, that this is what I'm doing, until like he gets to control the narrative of what that is. I think that both Jack being a Bitcoin fanboy, and I think Jay Z obviously being a smart entrepreneur and knowing, trying to figure out where the landscape is going to be. I think you're right, Krita. What you're saying is completely correct, and I think just to add to it, what's going to happen, I think, between Square, because mind you, Square, you can buy crypto on Square, you can buy stocks on I'm sorry, not
On
Square,
Cash App.
Cash
Yeah.
App. You
Yeah.
can buy crypto on Cash App. You can buy Doge,
By
Bitcoin,
stock. Yeah.
Ethereum, I believe. You can buy stocks. So they already have those functionality. And as we all been talking, I mean, not as we've all been talking about, but as people have been talking about when it comes to the stimulus, the counter argument against the stimulus is inflation. Inflation seems to be the biggest counter argument against, just printing money and fucking giving people money left and right. Is, well, you got to account for inflation. Like, what's that going to do to the American dollar? True, and that's why a lot of people are looking at other assets to take and hold that outside of the dollar, because they feel like the inflation, once it hits, it's going to really kind of reduce the value of the American dollar. So I feel like that's where a lot of people tend to move, especially the Bitcoin people. um, Cash App already having that functionality, Jay Z being on that board and understanding music and where that's going. And as we've talked about, I don't want to get into the whole blockchain thing too much this week, but as we've talked about in the past with blockchain and what that could do for music, I think that's where Jay Z comes in. I think that's where Cash App and Jack Dorsey and Square comes in. And I feel like, that's where that, what you were explaining, I think that's what ties it all together.
Yeah.
Is going to that.
Definitely. I mean, and obviously, like Square, they also have like all these like point of sale, like sort of software. So, like, just even thinking about like, like merch for artists and making that like super simple for them to sell their merch and things like that. So, you know, honestly, possibilities are endless, I think, with this deal. So, I think it was a good move.
Look, I'm going to point back to our previous conversation about NFTs. All right. The second I saw this, when I saw this move, I was like, this is a chess piece moving in that direction. We're talking about auto payments now. We're talking about getting into the 21st century, right? The one way you can make sure that the money mix gets it to the artist is by having your own way of handling it. This is basically like Jay-Z and that board of directors having their own bank. Like, we don't have to go through PayPal anymore. We don't have to do all this other stuff to get you your statements and your money. Like, imagine like you buy something off of Apple Music and then all of a sudden the artist sees like that 75 cent like right there. You know what I mean? Like, your money just keeps coming through. There's no more, like you said, like there's no more what is that? You said a suit and tie at the end of the table looking at your finances, like these Square is an app that already has it set up, and that's where I personally saw it. So building off both what you guys said, I'm on the same boat. It's pretty exciting to see.
Yeah, I guess it's a wait to see what happens, but I mean, I feel like that's the most logical, clear picture that I have, of what that future may look like. But congrats to Jay Z and Title, and again, just bringing it back to the Swiss and Tim deal with Versus, like, I believe, I forgot, and I don't know if you have the information up, Critter, but like I believe the artists who have a equity in title retain or
Yeah, they kept their shares, I believe. Yeah.
so it's not like he fucking sold the whole company out and screwed them over somehow. Like,
Yeah.
I think some people were, I think academics, I heard him, saying a lot of shit about like being a bait and switch black business owner, where he'll like say like, this is black owned, this is for us, by us, and then like flip the business once he like, raises the value of the company to his liking, he flips it to a white man, whatever. I don't listen. At the end of the day, I think Jay-Z is a businessman. He's a black man, but I think he's also a businessman, and he deals in both. I think he always is. But all those things is always into consideration. I don't think he cares that Jack Dorsey is a white man. I think that he cares more about, is he a good businessman?
Yeah.
And will this be good for everybody involved? And I feel like, I don't know. I may be just a fanboy, but I think Jay-Z, like he accounts for that. I believe.
Yeah, and I mean, and the fact that Jay-Z, he's on the board of Square now, so I feel like it's a lot more even keeled, that deal. It's not as like yes, Square bought the majority of title, but like obviously Jay-Z gets a piece from Square, so a company that he didn't start or build. So
Yeah, that academics thing, I mean, I don't know anything about it, but like that annoys me to hear, because I hate it when people are like, yo, this person isn't doing the right thing, and like, oh, once they got to the top they changed up. I'm like, dude, there's so much red tape when you're up there, that like at least there's one person that's looking out for you. Like like 10% or even 1% of the 99 is way more than the 0% of us sitting around doing nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like at least one of us is up there. And now the next time it's gonna be two of us, it's three. You know what I mean? Like it could change it a little by little. I mean, the world ain't gonna change by just one motion. Like it takes a lot to finally get there. And I think this is all good steps. So.
Word. All right. So let's move on from this. Let's talk about, last night the Grammys were on. I watched it. I felt it like it was very lackluster. Honestly, it was the same nominees throughout the whole night, and yeah, found it to be incredibly boring. But I do want to talk about the voting process and talk about how do you become a member in order to vote. So I'm just going to break that down, and then we can kind of talk about what everyone's feeling. So the voting is open to 350 members. Those members vote, and those votes are calculated by an outside accounting firm and then delivered at Grammy night. And how do you become a member? You essentially, the process of becoming a member is you get two music industry recommendations. And then
it's like applying for college. You need 2 letters of recommendation.
Exactly that. So those are then peer reviewed, your application, and that's pretty much it. But we don't know who these people are that are members. It's very odd. It's again, we don't know who these people are or how they got there.
We should know those things. That should be transparent.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And so that is definitely my frustration with the Grammy stuff, because I don't necessarily need to know their names, but like, let's like get some data. Let's get some,
know where they live.
Diverse.
I need to know if they have children.
Yes.
I need to know where their grandma lives. I need to make sure that they're not going to fuck up what I think is the rap album.
What is what? Yeah. But also no.
You better not fuck this up.
Yeah. Yeah. Ed's just outside their house, like, don't fuck this up.
Send a picture of their grandma sleeping.
That's fucked up.
Oh man. But yeah, it's definitely sus. A little sus about the whole process and who's in it and who's not. So,
man, the Grammys is all some clown shit. I don't even know why we even fucking pay attention to this shit. Like, if we wanted to see Beyonce and fucking Taylor Swift and all them like win awards, like just turn on the radio and listen to that shit. You can probably figure out who's gonna get a Grammy. You know, there was no like I was like, yo, where was the streets consulted about this? Like, where was Roddy Ricch at? Was he there?
He was there. He performed.
Yeah.
Okay. But I'm just saying, like, anytime, like,
I think
he got,
won
like,
some stuff too.
Yeah, I think he won an award also. I'm looking it up now.
Right, well, clearly,
I mean, the fact that Nas won his like first Grammy ever,
that
is
yeah,
like fucking. That tells you
that's
a lot.
insane.
That tells you a lot. You know.
That's definitely I know. I mean, King's Disease. I think it was an amazing album. I do think it was a great album, and I do think it should have been nominated for Album of the Year. I'm not taking that away from Nas at all, and I think I don't mind that. That's great. But like y'all, it was for me. I think it was also clearly like we missed the mark on your whole career. Like
yeah, and now we're trying to make up for
finally.
it. Yeah. Yeah, it's a fucking joke. Like, are you kidding me? Like, he made one of the like best hip hop albums ever.
Yeah,
you know, and like
people still talk about to this day.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
He made a classic album.
Foundation of hip hop, literally. I don't think there's one person that hasn't referenced it as like a motivation for their work in the past or something.
Yeah.
You could say the same thing about Kendrick though. Good Kid, Mad City didn't get nominated, and then they gave it to him for Damn. Like they missed the mark constantly. That's why I think all kidding aside, like I don't actually need to know obviously like where the grandma lives or anything like that. But like it's good to have some transparency because I want to be able to know what their backgrounds are and why they should be even voting. Like what is their resume like? I need to know what their diversity is like is it all people who listen to mostly this type of music? Is it all white people? Is it all I need to know what
I think so they have the genres like in basically each committee is like a genre, but then obviously on certain like nominations are like a general nomination, so like everybody gets to vote for it, but like for like best hip hop album, it's like the people that are like experts in hip hop get to vote on that.
But we don't get to know who the experts are, right?
Exactly. And I think that's the issue. It's just like who do they work for? And like what are their titles? Is it a finance guy at fucking Epic Records? Like what does that guy know about hip hop? That's what I like. That's what we need to know. Is like are these people being like properly vetted and like yeah, it's just again, I don't need to know their name, but like just what they do and like what their accolades are.
I think that's why people like head scratchers win Grammys sometimes, where you're just like, what?
Yeah,
okay. I guess that person won.
And
and vice versa. I think that's why also the same people win all the time. I don't want to name names, Taylor Swift, but like I think that's why those things happen is because there's people in that room that really shouldn't really be in that room when you really talk about the art of it because they're more on the business side. I feel like, and having that transparency allows us to be able to see that a little bit more clearly.
Definitely.
I mean, it's the music business, right? Sorry, Chris.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Yeah, it's like it's the music business, right? So when I was like thinking about it more, like, because like I don't know shit about the Grammys, but I just know that there's a lot of people who are always upset anytime like we see like certain things. That to me just means that like they're out of touch. So it's like it's a popularity contest of the popularity contest. You know what I mean? It's like, let's celebrate ourselves. Like I was listening to some of the awards, like acceptance speeches, and it's kind of weird to shout out your record label, in my opinion. It's like, I think that's like,
Well, I'm sure a lot of those label people are on those like voting committees.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean.
Yeah. It's like shouting out your parents for saying that, like, like you're a good kid, and you're just like, well, because that's a super biased opinion of that,
Yeah.
That was my takeaway of the Grammys. I don't know. I didn't understand how they actually voted. Like you said, Edwin, we don't even know who these people are on the board really and what their background is. And on top of that, I just got really tired of seeing the same like 7 songs nominated.
The same nominations, like that's stupid. Like that's not entertaining. You're not like seeing like there's just so many other albums and so many different artists, so many different like just everything across the board that should have been like nominated and literally just like nothing. Like
Mhm.
it's insane. Yeah, so I had a very boring time watching that the Grammys.
You didn't enjoy any of the performance?
Um, I didn't mind them, but like I just yeah, I don't know.
I gotta give a shout out to Doja Cat. I think that she bodied her performance. I actually really liked her performance. That girl can move, she can rap, she can sing, she can dance. She did it all, man. I really liked her performance. I also liked Lil Baby's performance. You see that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That was dope. He did
That was
the
good.
he did the I forgot what the song was called, but the protest song that he made, and then he fused that with Killer Mike's
Killer
song
Mike, yeah.
with um Run the Jewels, and they like I forgot what song that was. I'm sorry, I'm butchering that, but like they like made like a performance where it was like like they made the stage like a street or whatever visual projection map thing they had. It made it look like a street. There were like cops. He was performing. It was dope. It was really really dope. It reminded me of almost like the Kendrick performance of a few years ago, where it's like it's so powerful. Like obviously the song's very powerful, but also the performance they really kind of took that into account also. I'll show you guys some of it. Are we allowed to play some of it, or do you think they'll take it down if I do it, Critter?
Mm, I'm not sure. They
All right,
probably will. um, because those
all right.
algorithms are
I'm gonna share it real
tight.
quick. We might have to edit down. I guess we'll find that out later. But this is I'm telling you a quick minute of the performance here. All right, yeah, yeah, that was the performance. What do you guys think?
That was dope.
It's good.
Yeah, I love that, Killer Mike was in there. Well, yeah. Killer Mike's album, Run the Jewels album, did that come out
Last
like
year.
last year?
Yep.
I feel like that should have been nominated, unless they like missed the mark on that.
Yeah, I didn't see. I have the list here. I didn't see Run the Jewels at all nominated. So I think you're right. If they got nominated, I didn't see them anywhere, which is surprising. Um, but I think that they bodied that. I think that was my favorite performance. I think Doja Cat though also did her thing. Uh, there's one performance that kind of like had me kind of scratching my head a little bit. Not that it was bad per se, but it was lackluster, and that was Dua Lipa and the baby. I don't know. Did you guys remember
It,
seeing that performance at
yeah,
all?
I felt it was like kind of like confusing a little bit. I actually like I didn't know like who that person was until that performance.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
I thought it was it's felt weird to me because they did the whole projection mapping thing, so her background looked great, whatever like that. The problem is she stood there the whole time and she kind of like tried to did the sexy movement, but she didn't dance at all. She didn't move in, which was in stark contrast to like Doja Cat's performance, where Doja's rapping, she's singing, she's dancing, she's doing these crazy moves, she's in the cat outfit, then she switches to like the sexy like short dress thing, like she's doing it all. And in the Dua Lipa performance, it was the complete opposite. She's standing still, almost stiff, doing a few dances, maybe a little sexy look here and there, and is just singing. And then the baby comes on. The baby moves around the stage way more than she does. He's actually moving around, interacting with dancers, and the whole thing kind of just felt like, wow, like you can see a stark contrast between like what Doja Cat does and what Dua Lipa does. And I'm like you, Krita. I don't know Dua Lipa too much, but like that, because that performance was so like, I mean, honestly, like way whack compared to what Doja Cat brought, and even what like Lil Baby brought. Like those performances were great. I was like, I looked at, it, I was like, Dua Lipa. Like, I read the comment section, and I was like looking at the YouTube comment section, and people were like, "This is actually like way better than what she, what she typically is. Like, this is she's actually improved." And I was like, "Improved? Like, I'm over here trying to find comments of how whack she was. What do you mean she improved?" And it pretty much set me down this YouTube rabbit hole of Dua Lipa dance moves. Uh, I don't know if you guys want to watch a little bit of this, but
You had it
Yeah, I
open.
mean,
Let's
yeah,
see
if you
it.
got it up, like just you play it.
all right, all right. So, first of all, shout outs to Ruby Abrahams. Go subscribe to his page, because this is where I'm getting this highlight video from.
Oh my
So,
God.
Yo, the cringe, man, on that shit. Oh man.
oh
All
my
right.
god. Yeah, so I found out something I didn't know before, which is Dua Lipa is hot as hell, but homegirl can't dance to save her life. And so in lieu of hiring an actual like, good choreographer this time around, they just told her to stand up there and sing your heart out. Nah, I could tell.
There you go.
Yeah. I do want to talk about the weekend protesting the Grammys. To the point where he doesn't want his label submitting his albums to the Grammys. So
I think
Nah.
he's butthurt.
I think so
Oh.
too, but I also think like obviously, the transparency thing is big. Um
Yeah.
I'm sure he's won Grammys before, right? In the past.
That's a good question. I'll look that up in a sec. I feel like like artists have protested the Grammys before. I think it's better / cooler when artists don't give a shit. Personally,
Yeah.
so when you come out and you say like I'm protesting the Grammys, that just sounds to me like you're butthurt over an institution that you know isn't for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, the weekend is pop and he should be nominated, but you like we just had a whole conversation about it. You like I don't know who the Grammys represents, because oftentimes the winners don't represent my personal taste in music. And
Yeah.
like especially when it comes to the hip hop, I can't speak for all categories because I don't listen to all categories. But if I feel that way about hip hop, I'm sure others may feel that way about their category that they're looking for. So like I don't know, like I get it, and I would be mad too if I'm like actually like rooting for getting a Grammy. But at this point, the weekend should know that the game is rigged, and like shouldn't be giving a fuck all that much, because at the end of the day, it's like a political game, as opposed to being all butthurt like he is. I'm sorry, like come on, man,
Mm.
you know what it is.
Yeah, but I mean, what do you actually get out of protesting the Grammys versus like going?
Especially
Like,
he's like
what?
a superstar. So it's like that's sort of your field. Like to be on the Grammys is like he
Mhm.
can definitely do it because he's on the Billboard charts and he's got the fans and shit. So I mean, you didn't get on this year's, but maybe you might get on next year. Like
Right.
I don't think fully protesting is the way, but
They're not losing sleep over him not being there. I don't think so, at least.
Is that two Toronto artists who are protesting the Grammys? Isn't Drake protesting the Grammys?
I don't think Drake is like protesting, more so like he just doesn't go to the Grammys.
Oh,
Like
okay.
I think he'll still win a Grammy because he gets submitted.
Yeah.
But where The Weeknd is like, no, I don't want my label submitting my albums.
There's a few other artists that have come out and said. I think Lil Wayne said something recently. He's like, "Fuck the Grammys." There's some people who are butthurt because they should have won. I completely understand why they're butthurt because they should have won. Me personally, though, I'll say this about The Weeknd's latest album. I think it's a pretty good album. I don't know if it's like it should have been nominated. I think probably for something. Although I can tell you that about a bunch of other records that I listened to that I really like that weren't nominated. He's one of many. I don't personally think like maybe that single, maybe the Save the Tears like single, maybe that would have won something, could have won like record of the year or something like that. But I don't think it was like his best work personally. Like I don't know. I don't think it was my favorite, the Weeknd stuff personally. But it was pretty good. But yeah, whatever. I guess to each their own. And if he thinks he deserved a Grammy or at least a nomination, like I feel him for it. But you know what it is, man. This shit ain't for you, son.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's enough Grammy talk. Unless you guys got other
One
things
last
that
thing.
you
I do have
wanna
one
say.
last thing. I think you guys saw that there. Apparently, okay. So, in truth be told, I didn't watch the Grammys at all last night. I just kind of like looked at the highlights and tried to find the most interesting tidbits. Did you guys catch any of Bill Burr's thing? Because Bill Burr was hosting the pre-show.
No, I actually did not know that. I didn't watch the pre-show.
All right, and again,
I would have watched it if I knew.
Again, if we have to cut this out of the pod because of copyright, like you can do whatever with that. But like, let me just this was actually gold. It was a kind of a train wreck, to be honest with you. I don't know why they decided Bill Burr was the guy to do this, but they did, and the results were as expected. If you know Bill Burr, let me pull that up.
Well, they couldn't get Kevin Hart this year, huh?
I guess not.
Thank you, Igor, for that sublime performance. I feel like I'm in a virtual heaven. And now let's mingle and jingle with the stand-up comedian who taught us on Netflix that F is for family. He's nominated for his first Grammy this year in the Best Comedy Album category. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Bill Burr.
Real quick, she did way too much. Like,
that was a little much there.
That was cringy. That was terrible. Way to be everything but like, I don't know. Anyway.
Janae?
Okay, thank you, Janae.
I mean, she's hot without having to try. That for me was like cringy. I was like, what are you doing there? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, the Bill Burr thing at the end there was rough.
Yeah, Burr.
Yeah,
like,
what
was
rough.
that? That was painful.
Was I the only one who wanted to kill himself during that piano solo? I bought a suit for this. I thought I was going to be on TV. I'm such a moron. I am losing so much money right now. All right, shout out to all the rock stars that I wanted to meet tonight who are watching at home instead. I'm talking to you, Don Dawkins. All right? What, I'm old. That was my first concert. All right, here are the next categories. Up for bids.
For Best Latin Rock.
Conducting the Los Angeles Philharmonic. I'll be accepting the Grammy on behalf of those two.
There's one more.
All right, and the Grammy goes to Frederick Ballantyne. 7, 9. And the Grammy goes to, hey, how you doing? All right, the Grammy goes to Contemporary
For Best Classical Instrumental Solo Performance.
We're struggling
His delivery is like expecting a laugh track to show up, but it's a fucking
Richard O'Neill and David Allen Miller.
Audience,
That was...
For Best Classical
All right,
Solo.
hold on, no, this is it.
All right, right. Hey, how many feminists are like going nuts? So why is this cis white male doing all this Latino stuff? And the Grammy goes to Niche. Hey, Niche.
Yo, hold on. Why
That's
is there a
funny.
tropical Latin album like section? That to me screams
Honestly,
like
the
wild
Grammys run all
racism.
day.
Yeah.
Actually, what we see is like basically the super mainstream stuff, but then they also have like a ton of like metal and like
Mhm.
producers. Like I want them to like sort of sprinkle that into the main event. Like I think that's the
Yeah.
problem. You're getting too much of the same shit.
Mhm.
But yeah, the Grammys like it's an all day sort of thing. They have like super obscure genre stuff that they do.
Yeah, they need to start having new like sections like best song that references a gun. You know,
See, that would be interesting.
Yeah, that'd be. I'd
We
watch
actually
that.
we need to update award show to have that level of like thoughtfulness, like in their like nominations. Like,
word.
there's a lot of songs with that, with raps about guns, but which one is the best of the year? Like
Which one? Like, it's like they should have like a best song to like work out to, or something. Best song that makes you want to go out and rob somebody. Best song that best song that makes you want to call up your ex. Like, there's this crazy genre.
Yeah.
you might be onto something.
See? Y'all need to have me on that board, son. My resume look crazy.
You should apply. Find some industry people
You
to
can use
to
me
write your
and Critta-
recommendations.
Yeah, you can use me and Critta for the letter recommendation.
Yeah.
I want to be able to, like if we ever do accept an award for some bullshit. I was laughing about this yesterday, thinking about like if this podcast ever took off by accident, like what kind of
It would be
acceptance
by
speech-
accident.
It would not be by accident. It would be about goddamn time. We've only made like 60 of these joints.
No, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like, our responses would be all wildly different. Like, you're like Chris and you would just be like, yeah, like we were just kind of fucking around. Edward would just be like, yo, we been known we was supposed to be
Mad confident and shit.
What I say?
Yeah, no, that would be a good time. All right. Are we off Grammys? Are we good? Everyone
we
get
good.
everything off
I
their
got my shit
chests.
off. I got my
All
shit.
right.
Fuck the Grammys, son.
Well, now you're not going to get on the committee now saying shit like that. All right, let's talk about albums. Got a few albums to talk about. Let's talk about there was an album that Wes Taylor sent to you.
Yep.
Let's talk about that. So I'm probably gonna butcher the name. I think it's Masai. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, Messiah.
Yo, how come white people can never pronounce ethnic names? Like, what's wrong with you?
Yo, for real.
It happens.
Like-
I just suck at speaking in general. So
Like,
That was
No.
pretty much the reason I was skipping around in the clip of Bill Burr, because that was pretty much half his act is like butchering like Spanish people's names. Like, and like it was kind of funny at first, but after a while I was like, all right, come on, man. Like, didn't you do any
well,
like
he
like,
was probably doing it
show
intentionally.
like like you should have like done this pre-show. Like you're announcing Spanish names all night. You might as well take a gander.
Might want to
before
practice
the show.
that before you.
might want to practice a little bit. But anyway, can continue on butchering this guy's name.
Oh Jesus! Thank you. All right.
Edward was tight about that.
Yeah, damn. All right.
Like
I can't even say like normal words. How am I gonna like say this word? Like, you know what I mean? All right. So the album was a cassette playlist. 4 songs. I liked it. I feel like it's definitely something that you want to like put on while you're driving around and shit. Yeah, I mean, obviously it was pretty short, so there's not too much to talk about. But the production, the beats were dope. I really like that song, "Great Escape" with Dutch Casey. So
Yeah, I'll say, I don't have too much to say just because the record's There's like four pretty good songs on it. I don't know too much about this individual, but I know that he has some sort of affiliation with West. I love, by the way, for people listening who are artists out there, send us your shit. We're always looking to listen to stuff. If we really like it, we'll put it on the pod. We really like this. I think this is really good. We haven't. I feel like there's been kind of a lull lately. As we're going to talk about a couple other releases that came out that I'm excited to talk about. But like, there hasn't been too much coming out in terms of music, and I feel like this is a really good independent artists, smaller artists who I think made a pretty good EP of songs to listen to. So all I'll say is, came up pretty dope. Listen to it. This dude's kind of has like a that I don't even know if he has like a West Coast vibe. I don't know what kind of vibe he has. It's kind of just mellow raps, man. I fuck with it.
Like kind of lo-fi-ish in a way, like low tempo.
It was good stuff. I mean, like, you hit it right on the head, Chris. It was like, it's music that did really well playing in the background, because like I was doing work while listening to him. Two things I took away: there's another rapper named Masai. So you gotta make sure you add on that 90056 when you're looking at him on Spotify, just to make sure we're not shouting out the wrong person here. And then
it'll be in the description for
word. And then I fucked with it. It was good, just laid back vibes like y'all said. And I like that song, Push My Buttons. That came up a lot. It stood out. So it was a good recommendation there. And I like the name of it, Cassette Playlist.
Yeah, he knew what he was doing. He knew what the sound was. That's the feel I got. Like, the mellow raps, listen, put that shit in the background, or put that shit on when you're like kind of laying down, relaxing. It's kind of the vibe I got. I love stuff like that, man. Honestly, like I'm also a big fan of like, and this is kind of the stuff I haven't heard in a while. That would be nice to kind of re-listen to more stuff like this. Like, I love like jazzy hip hop too, and I haven't listened to like too much of that lately for whatever reason. I feel like just the stuff that has been coming out that I've been kind of like connected with has been, everything but I'd love to get more mellowed out when it comes to my hip hop listening too. So, this was definitely more of a mellow out vibe, which I appreciated. Real quick though, I want to, if we're done talking about Masai, I wanted to circle back to the album that we discussed last sidebars, which was Fraud Department by Jim Jones. I finally got around to it. John, yo, that is the shit, son. That Fraud Department is crazy. I love that. Shout out to Jim Jones for getting older and getting better, man. He's like wine. That shit was crazy. I loved his last release. I thought his last album was really dope. I feel like this one was even better. That shit, like Laps Around the Sun, perfect intro. I thought that one of my favorite songs. The People with Conway the Machine, that's a crazy record. That album was nuts. I love that album.
So much replay value in that. I think I've had that playing in the car, in the garage, doing whatever, just in the background. It's just like the beats are so good. It has like that like gritty New York. You know what I mean? Like, we were really missing that shit. It's perfect for right now.
And you said it right last time. You were like, this is kind of like that, like, I forgot how you said it. You like this that gritty New York crime shit, but with like the undertone of the pandemic. The pandemic. And I feel like you're right. Like, that has that gritty New York street shit, but when it comes to making bands during the pandemic, which I thought gave it like a more authentic kind of vibe. This shit was crazy, man. You were right. This shit was nuts.
Fuck with it. Shout out to Jim.
All right. Let's talk about Drake Scary Hours 2. So I enjoyed the record. Obviously, it's only 3 songs. I think Wants and Needs were dope. Little Baby showed up on that one. Obviously, that Lemon Pepper was great as well. Like, I love the sample on that was dope. It's just kind of funny because I feel like Drake like really rapped his ass off, and just having Rick Ross on there was good. It makes sense of why he was on it, but yeah, it was just funny that Drake just fucking rapped his ass off, and like Rick Ross kind of just, he was alright on it, but
you think Rick Ross mailed it in? Is that what you're saying?
I don't think he mailed it in, but it's just like compared to like Drake's shit was just like, it's just all right.
Oh man, that review. All right, all I'm gonna say is you don't get on a track with Rick Ross and you go on some lyrical rap your ass off type, right? You gotta act like you're too cool for the fucking beat, and that's exactly what Rick Ross did.
Well, he's too cool to be there. Yeah.
like you like Drake, like I was laughing earlier today thinking about what I would say about this album or like these songs, and I was like, at this point in my career, like to quote like Big Body Best, but like paraphrase it, like at this point in my career, I feel like I don't need to listen to a Drake album anymore. But that's a lie. But I listened to Lemon Pepper Freestyle on YouTube actually, and I remember like I just had it playing in the background because it came up on one of them, like how YouTube does that thing where it just starts playing songs after a while, and I was like, damn, like this song like just makes sense, but I haven't heard the other two yet, truthfully, but it's
I'll say this. It's funny that you say that like Rick Ross mailed it in, because I feel like the opposite happened on the record with Lil Baby. I feel like Drake went, but Lil Baby took that record. Lil Baby washed
100%.
that record. Lil Baby is the standout lyricist in that whole 3-pack, in my opinion. Like he did the best on that 3-pack.
Yeah, I mean, and one thing to note here, Drake, he's actually the first artist to debut at number 1 and number 2 on the Billboard charts at one time,
wow.
Which is pretty insane. So
he's that guy, though. I'm not that surprised.
I mean, if somebody
like
can do it, it would be him. So
he's like that Tom Brady, LeBron James when it comes to music, where it's like you're just smashing records now. It's like what record's next? It's like you just stop keeping count after a while.
Yeah. Like how are you gonna compete with yourself? Like he probably tied with himself on 1 and 2. You know what I mean? Probably did something where it's like alphabetical that they chose what 1 and 2 were.
Well, I think it was the wants and needs, and then I forget what the other song. I don't think it was Lemon Pepper. I think it was whatever the other song on the record is, but whatever he did the music video to. Was it Up Next or something like that? But yeah, so any last thoughts on that album? Obviously it's 3 songs. I feel like it's just like throwaway Drake songs that before the album drop. Cool. So let's talk about the Kashi two times Baki album that actually just dropped today, which is Monday, March 15th. Man, this record is fucking dope. I feel like Kashi, he's able to, whatever record he's on, he's like, he makes a vibe. Like even on other people's projects, when he's on a record, it's usually my favorite song on that album. So 13 tracks, it's a big album. He definitely was vulnerable at times. So props to him for opening up and doing that, especially on tracks like For the Family. So honestly, dope album. So thoughts? Did you guys like it?
There's a few tracks that I'm at this point. By the way, shout out to Kashi for sending me this album early. I got the jump start on listening to this shit, and I feel like I needed it because there's a lot. This is a heavy album, man. Like not only is the production great, but like the content that he raps about, man, is like he's rapping about loss of family members, like like how complicated life can be, obviously mental health and what that does to you when you're coping with grieving for loved ones. There's a lot of really heavy themes in this album, but also like accompanied with just overall great music, honesty, like brutal honesty, which is why Kashi is becoming one of my favorite artists, period. Not just like, I'm talking about not even just like one of my favorite artists from the Lynn area, blah, 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 Boston. I'm talking about period. Like, because there's a brutal honesty when it comes to You know, any song that he's on, he's not afraid to be vulnerable and to whether it be speaking on things or just being honest about a situation or whatever it is. It's like it always seems authentic when I hear it from Kashi. So no different on Baki. You know, Save Us, Sanyi, Feelings at the Door 1 and 2 are probably my top 4 favorite songs. And then aside from that, every song on this album is amazing. Those
Yeah.
4 in particular I really like though. But you know, this is shout outs to you, Kashi, man. You did it, man. This album is great. I really hope, I pray and hope that this actually gets recognized by like, you know, more than just like the Lin hip hop community. And I think like just this needs to, people need to hear this shit. This needs to be heard. You know, we got to make this shit heard. So hopefully, you know, 2021 treats this album as one of its best, because this is a extraordinary effort and also like very shit, man. This is one of those records, man. When you're driving around, you're listening to it, like it brings you to a place. You're listening to it, and all of a sudden you're like thinking about, you know, you're drawing connections to your own life when you listen to songs, you know, like Sanyi, you know. So yeah, John.
Yeah, I'm gonna be for real. I actually had no idea who Kashi was, and I just kind of like was able to type it in and start listening a little bit in between work here and there. And like I'm actually really, really happy to hear that he's a quote unquote local artist. You know, because I was right on the same page as you. Like this is, if I was like right now, like up until literally this moment when you said it, I had no idea who he was. I just assumed he was some, you know, already well-known artist. This album, you know, for the few tracks that I did hear, sounded like it was well put together. It had good production value, and honestly, the topics and just the feeling of the album was so powerful that I was like, oh, this is like one of those long-standing albums that everybody's gonna eventually listen to. It's like kind of like Kid Cudi's like Man on the Moon project stuff, right? Like it had that same vibe of like it's dark, but like unless you really knew it, you're not gonna really like listen to it. You're not really gonna know or absorb it, you know. I really like love that song. Long time coming. I was like, damn, what a way to start the album. You know, really, really set you in a place where you're like, what the. I didn't know I was expecting this,
Yeah.
but it was, you know, it was good. It strangely enough attached itself to, you know, what I was going through myself, but you know, this whole album, I think, and you know, just the album cover itself, like I'm a person who likes the visuals of it, and I was looking at the album cover, I'm like, yeah, this is a dope album cover. This looks very professional. It looks like an instant classic. You know, I'm not the person to say who dictates what is an instant classic, but to myself, this seems like an album that would make its way into the constant rotation. You know what I mean? And that's really all I got to say about this. It's like, other than what you guys already said, like I really hope too that it takes off. And you know, it's one of those things where like if y'all follow me on Instagram, y'all know every once in a while I'll just throw up a song that's like I don't even tag the song. It's just the fucking album cover and the song itself, because it's like, you know, I was like, there's no part of this song that I could just clip and say like in 15 seconds you're gonna get it. This is like an album where like I was immediately brought into that, where I was like, oh, this is like one of those where you just have to share, you know, something and hope that, you know, just get the word out there.
Yeah.
You know?
I always, albums like these, like when I really feel like it's like something special, like this artist like really hit on something special. These are the albums I enjoy playing for people like not saying, like you said, like not saying much. I'm not like, yo, listen to this. Now I kind of just put it on and watch how people react to it. This is one of those records where it's like you put it on, you don't say nothing, you just watch and see how people react to it. So you want people to verify that what you feel is right. And this is kind of that kind of record for me. Like I ain't telling people that I'm putting this on. I'm gonna sneak it, put it on, raise the volume just enough so you can hear it, and I'm gonna watch and see how you react to it. So you know, like I said, man, this is a great one from Kashi. Congratulations, man. Like I said, I really, really hope that it gets the recognition it deserves.
Yeah, no, same. And I mean, obviously I said this before, but KMF, I feel like they're gonna have a year. So, you know, I think yeah. So cool. All right. So that is it. That's all we have to review. So that's
awesome.
The end of the pod.
All right. Word. So if you guys fuck with us, if you guys want to support the channel, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell button, and then go up and hit all. That way you get all the content that we put out. Keep out for our next releases. Obviously, check out the store, show us support. And yeah, listen to the dope artists that we covered. But thank you all again, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.
There.